Hello guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the Max Pacioretty trade and everything involved. Now, funny story, I was editing a video while this trade just happened. It's midnight at my time, and this trade really came out of nowhere. I mean, there's Max Pacioretty trades, they've been in the loops for the past couple of weeks with the golf tournament and all that, but this trade, there wasn't really any lead up to it. It just happened out of nowhere at midnight. It's pretty surprising. Now, while the trade happened at a surprising time, the players that are getting traded are pretty obvious. We've been knowing that Max Pacioretty was in the trade rumors for quite a long time, and since the trade deadline, he's really been in these rumors. And even being the captain of Montreal, he still was in those rumors, and of course, we've known that Montreal and Marc Bergevin have been in those rumors and have been wanting to trade him. In fact, we know that there was a done deal to LA to send Velarde and to Foley to Montreal for Max Pacioretty at the draft. So we knew that Montreal already had some trades going. We knew that Montreal already wanted to trade him. It was just about what happened. Of course, now we know that it's a done deal. Now, again, there's nothing crazy involved. It's kind of simplistic trade on paper, but again, it's just surprising that Max Pacioretty was just traded out of nowhere. Now, of course, the Vegas Golden Knights are the team to acquire him, and they just get Max Pacioretty, nothing else, but that's a pretty good player to get anyways. Vegas Golden Knights acquire the Montreal Canadiens captain. He played 64 games last season, had 37 points. It was a down year for him. A lot of people are projecting him to have a better year next season, and for me, I think he was already going to have a better season, but in Vegas, I think that definitely bolsters their core. You know, they've had some mess stuff happen to them. Of course, Nate Schmidt getting suspended 20 games, but this definitely bolsters them, not in the defense really, but definitely in the forward group. You could argue that they were missing that superstar up front, especially in the Stanley Cup final, and Max Pacioretty, in my opinion, is that player. He definitely brings a lot to a locker room, and definitely brings a lot to the Vegas Golden Knights, and I don't think that he's going to be the next captain, but he does bring leadership experience from the Montreal Canadiens onto the Vegas Golden Knights, and that's something that they could use as well. And that's something that I also think will be key in this trade. Max Pacioretty likely will not be the captain in Vegas. I don't think they're going to have a captain anyways, but with Max Pacioretty, he might have lesser spotlight because he's on a better team of Vegas, because he's not being relied on to be the captain. I think because he's not going to be that captain, because he's not going to be relied to be the sole leader of the team, I think he's going to do very, very well in Vegas. Whether Vegas tippy-toes or not, whether they fall down in the standings, we'll see, but I feel like he'll have a very successful year. Now, looking at what Montreal got back from Max Pacioretty, it's not bad. Now, it's not the greatest return ever, but we knew that Montreal wanted to ship out Pacioretty, so with this going, I think this is about as good of a return as we're going to get, especially with Max Pacioretty not announced to be extended yet. Now, if Max Pacioretty extends with the Vegas Golden Knights, I think this trade is more on the Vegas Golden Knights side, but if it isn't, if he only stays for 1 year, I think the haul they got was pretty solid. Now, the Montreal Canadiens acquire Vegas Golden Knights forward Thomas Tatar, Nick Suzuki, and a 2019 second-round pick. Now, we'll go down in order here. Of course, they get Thomas Tatar, who will help their forward group. It will bolster them a little bit up front, but of course, you're losing Max Pacioretty, so it isn't a one-to-one there at all. He had a down year in Vegas. The Vegas Golden Knights traded a first, a second, and a third from him. Like, one of the worst trades from last season. But Thomas Tatar really did not perform all that well in Vegas. He didn't really get too much of a chance, but he just did not do that well. I feel like in Montreal, he'll get top 6 minutes for sure. He is still a talented player, and I feel like he'll have a little bit of a bounce back because I think he'll get those minutes, and he'll get the time that he didn't get in Vegas. And possibly the biggest piece going back in this trade is Nick Suzuki. He's a very, very good prospect for the Vegas Golden Knights, or now for the Montreal Canadiens. He's a center prospect, so that's the big thing. In the OHL, he played pretty well. For me, this is a big add. This is a big bolster to their prospect core right now. For Nick Suzuki, of course, they needed a center. The Montreal Canadiens always need centers, so getting another solid, very solid center prospect ain't a bad thing at all. And I think if Max Pacioretty were going to get traded, and we see it now, they were going to look for a center prospect, and boom, they get a pretty solid one. Now, I don't think that Nick Suzuki is a first-line talent. I don't know if he's a first-line center type guy, but I feel like he could be a possible second-line guy for the Montreal Canadiens, and that's, I think, a very good place for him. I feel like he definitely has that potential. Likely, maybe a more third-line center, but I still think he's going to be a very, very solid NHL player. And last but not least, you got that 2019 second round pick, which in 2019, the draft ain't looking bad. So I feel like that second round pick of the Vegas Golden Knights is going to be a lower pick, so don't brace for too much there. But I feel like that second round pick is going to factor in, since the Habs have been picking a lot of second round picks, and they have had a good track record with it. But right now, I think this bolsters Vegas. Vegas' squad very, very good. I think that this really does add to their forward group. It really does add to their first line even. And Max Pacioretty, I think, is a good fit there. He'll look very decent in a Vegas Golden Knights uniform. And next season, while I didn't think that the Vegas Golden Knights would do too well, adding Max Pacioretty is going to certainly help them throughout that regular season and hopefully throughout the playoffs. They get Thomas Tatar, who might just slot into their top 6 off the bat. They get Nick Suzuki, who's a center prospect, who will likely factor into the NHL team in a couple of years. And in 2019 second, which is always a coin flip, but you never know how good that could become. So I feel like the Canadians, while I still think they got a little bit lesser of a Max Pacioretty, I think that the return that they got was still pretty solid. And I don't think the Vegas Golden Knights care too much if they got fleeced here. They're getting Max Pacioretty, one of the better forwards in the game for the last few years, and one of the best goal scorers in the game for the past few years. And I feel like this next season, he'll definitely rebound the Vegas Golden Knights, as they likely have a good year again. I feel like they'll make the playoffs, especially with Max Pacioretty leaving that forward core. I feel like this next season will be very bright for both Pacioretty and the Vegas Golden Knights. But again, it sucks for Montreal leaving their captain, letting their captain go in a trade, but I feel like they did still get some solid guys. Again, this does contribute more to Montreal being a lesser team next season. There really isn't a lot of hope for them. Of course, Shea Weber being out till December, and now they've traded their captain. It's looking pretty bleak, but the future is getting better because of this trade. But again, I also like this trade because now we can put those Max Pacioretty rumors to rest. We've been hearing that month after month. Oh, is Max Pacioretty going to trade it to Dallas, Montreal, wherever, honestly. And now we can finally put those rumors to rest. No more talking about Jeff Molson being at a golf tournament anymore. I'm finally glad that it's done and over with. But again, a big trade coming out at midnight my time. It was a special thing. I go on Twitter and Max Pacioretty comes up. I thought it was fake at the moment, honestly. I didn't think it was real, but a huge trade happens at a pretty wacky time, but hey, it's a big trade. I'll definitely take that. So of course, now that the surprise trade just came in, I want to hear from you guys. If you're watching this at probably 3 a.m. is probably when I'm going to post this, but anyways, I want to hear your thoughts. Who do you think won, the Montreal Canadiens or the Vegas Golden Knights? Let me know what you think about Max Pacioretty being traded and just the trade overall. But that's going for today, guys. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe. Again, tell me below, what do you think of this trade? Who won, the Habs or the Vegas Golden Knights? And I'm not going to get any sleep tonight. Might as well see you guys later. Goodbye.